Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, drop this video a like. Let's have a like target of 300 for this one, and get involved in the comments section down below. Your predicted lineup for Aston Villa versus Southampton. Justin is in behind me and Ryan as the two forwards in this lineup tonight. So we've got our Up the Villa podcast lineup sorted. Justin, where are you going on Saturday?
Prawn sandwiches on Saturday. I've been invited into a box, which is very, very nice. Very nice of Mr. Luke Roper. Hopefully it'll be a nice experience. Looking forward to that.
If you want to drop mine and Ryan's invite in the comment section down below, I'm only messing. You'll have a great time. But yeah, let's get started then. Some big news, really, and I love this type of stuff because it's sort of it's history, isn't it? It's heritage. It's what it's going to be an evolution of Villa Park, which I absolutely love. This coming from the new owners. So Villa Park set to go to a 50,000 seater stadium with the demolition of the North Stand. That concrete stand. It's a bit of an eyesore, isn't it? And I think it's time for it to go, and it's going to be lovely to see what the proposed drawings look like, what it's going to look like, what it's going to mean to a match day experience. I think it's going to alter the experience dramatically for those that sit in there, or corporate and financial side of things to Aston Villa. So I think it's needed. I think it's to compete and to not only compete on the football pitch, but to compete financially with these big clubs and to offer what they're offering. I think it's sort of, we're not on that level, are we? We're massively behind. And I think it's time that we sort of catched up. And I think Villa Park's that area that probably needs a little bit of work. We've seen the training ground complex go to one of the best in the country. And I think it's time that the sort of the match day experience, the corporate side of things reaches that level as well. So Justin, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's got to come, hasn't it? I mean, it's the only stand since I've been going down the Villa that hasn't been redeveloped. So it's definitely overdue. I'll be a bit sad to see it go. It was the first stand that I had a season ticket in. I had front row of the upper tier in the North Stand. Many happy memories watching Villa as a young kid with my two brothers sitting next to me right at the front when the away fans were underneath us, which gave us some really good moments, to be fair. One of my favourite moments was watching Davy Platt round, I think it was Peter Shilton for Derby, and just before half time and slotting it home. So lots of good memories from for me in that stand. It's a good stand, to be fair. If anybody sat up there to sit, the viewing angle is really nice because you're high up, but you're low enough to have a good view of the ground. But I think anybody that's in, my brother-in-law sits in there and it is very dated. The concourses are very tight now and narrow, and it's the obvious one to redevelop. And I think with the car park behind it and everything that's going to come with that, by the sound of it, a brand new superstore, megastore. I don't know whether they're going to get a hotel in there, but, whatever's coming is going to be great. And hopefully a museum. Everybody that knows me knows I love my memorabilia and my history of the club. And I think it's one thing we're desperately lacking is a top museum with the history we've got. But on the pitch, definitely need more seats in the ground, definitely need more hospitality. Like you say, we've got to catch up now with the off-the-field stuff. And the only way to sort of really push on, yes, we've got good owners. Yes, they don't mind putting their hands in the pockets, but we need to be self-sustaining. Really, that would be the nicest way to carry on. So they've given us the leg up to get to where we are, but without good solid income and revenue coming in each season, then you can't sustain anywhere near a challenge up the top end of the Premier League table. So the next phase is getting more seats in and getting more hospitality in and more corporate in. So I'm like you, I'm really excited to see when the pictures drop and to see what the stadium looks like. I hope we can retain the four stands. Personally, for me, I think that's what makes Villa Park so special. Most of the country now have got these bowl stadiums. I understand it. You fill the corners in and you get more seats in, but it would be nice to maybe have a replication of the whole 10, the other side, possibly, because that holds, loads of seats, doesn't it? So, yeah, can't wait for it. It's the next stage in our history and our growth. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes.
And I think another aspect of it is probably some, nothing to do with the North Stand. Well, it isn't. It isn't. I think we've spoke about this, Ryan, on our walk home and our walk to the train station. Is the actual match day experience, what the average Villa fan, what that experience entails. And if I'm being honest, it's a bit of a nightmare. Not just what's on what we do watch sometimes on the pitch, but getting out of there, the amount of time that it takes to leave Villa Park, the time it takes to get a drink, the time it takes to get some food. I think logistically, it's all a bit all over the place. And I think if you're saying you're going to add an extra, say, 7,000 fans to Villa Park, it is a nightmare. So I think I'd like to see some sort of things happen where instead of the full-time whistle, when you've got 42,000 people leaving a football stadium, there's the option to maybe stay in there for an hour and have a drink, and that way the crowds can disperse at different times. I think that aspect of it is maybe something we should look at. Maybe we should have sort of like an actual fan park or fan zone. I know Man City have it, and I just think these are all different areas which I think the club hopefully are looking at. And it's not just you rock up Villa Park, you watch the game and you go home. I think now fans are wanting a little bit more. I've been fortunate to watch Villa at the new Spurs stadium, and that is absolutely fantastic. I know Brighton sort of let you stay after the games as well. So what's your thoughts on it all, Ryan?
Yeah. Totally agree with you, mate. We've been going down there for years and years, so we know the little cheeky car parking spaces, and we know how to time the runs to the train station. But if you're a fan that comes from further afield and you don't come all the time, I know that you see on Twitter lots of fans that come over from Ireland, and when you're travelling that far and it's your first game, or you're a little kid or something, you want a big experience, don't you? You want to get down there early. I know we've got the Holt Suite and the stuff that goes on in the Villa stumps in there for the kids, but I do think there should be like a fan tent, or even opening up the concourses after the game for a beer, because especially when you've won, you want to hang around, don't you, with your fellow Villa fans. You don't want to all disperse and go and chew the fat with your mates. You can be surrounded by the whole Villa community, and that buzz, especially when you win or you've got a draw where you've come behind. You don't want to go home, do you? So I fully agree, and like Justin said, we've been going down the Villa the same sort of time frame as well. North Stand was the first time I went into the ground, like sat in the North Stand up. Our memories of Platt as well. I'd be sad to see it go, but it's dated, and it does need an upgrade, and that whole club shop needs an upgrade. The club's got to be tapping in on that. They want people in that club shop, don't they? Match day, filling their boots, hanging around for a beer after, spending money, get a bit of food after. We had Digbeth Dining Club down there for a bit, didn't we? And that was great. I was going there before the game all the time. The selection of food was brilliant. So you're spending your money down there. So, come on, Villa, keep us down there. But the infrastructure as well, like you touched on with the trains, Luke, I think the travel around the ground has been highlighted a lot this season, hasn't it, with the queues for the trains, especially the trains going into town as well, where you could be waiting up to 2 hours in some cases. They're not filling the trains up. So it's something that Perslow's touched on, hasn't it? So hopefully all that will be taken into account. But yeah, it'd be great to have a 50-seater stadium.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's so exciting in it for
especially after we lost out on the old theme park after Dr. Tony was found out to be a fraud. So
So that's a little bit of news that's come out this week, and now we'll get into our predicted lineup. We'll put it on the screen now as well. But we haven't really spoke about this lineup. Normally we're in the group chat and we're sort of going, who do you think midfield? Who do you think striker? But I think we're all in agreement that after Gerrard's comments when he was mentioning that he wants to play them both together, Watkins and Ings, and I think we're all in agreement that he's sticking with the same lineup. Get involved in the comment section on whether you feel like maybe Sanson or that for Luis, but Justin, thoughts then, lineup, what you saying?
Yeah, I think my gut says that he'll stick with the same 11. Obviously, we won the game, so it's easy to stick with a team when you've won, isn't it? I do think it's probably time that he left probably Douglas Luiz out for a game or two. He's just not quite there, is he? And there is one or two players there that could come in and have a go. I mean, there's not that many games left now to the end of the season. So if he's going to see anything of Sanson in a first team shirt, then he's got to at some point give him a run, because, we've touched it a million times now. There's going to be another number 6 coming in the summer, and Nakamba's going to be back at some point. So, he either gives Sanson a bit of a run now and sees whether he's got a future at Villa, or he has just decided that he's going to be moved on in the summer. I don't know. Tim Irubugenum as well. I don't think he's ready for a start. I think we'll just see him play little cameos towards the end of games, especially if we're winning. And then maybe you might see 1 or 2 starts at the end of the season. But he seems to be very highly thought of, so he's going to be in and around the team. But yeah, I think overall, based on the win last week and based on where we currently are, I think it'll be the same team. Watkins and Ings, very interesting to see now how that develops over the next few games. They're hopefully going to get a run of games as well to try and develop their partnership and see what they can kick on. Coutinho in the 10. I still feel sorry for Buendia because he hasn't really done anything wrong. He's been very decent for us this season, but it is what it is, isn't it? So, yeah, I think it's same team.
Yeah, I did have a dream last night that Tim started in central midfield as well. So don't know what that was all about, where that came from. But obviously, I sleep Aston Villa. It's like on my mind all the time, isn't it? Like Villa podcast, like. So yeah, Tim started.
It's funny. I hope I've said his name wrong, because everybody else calls him Tim, because nobody wants to say his last name. But I think it's Irubugenum. It's something like Irubugenum.
I'm not committing.
I hope I've not absolutely murdered his last name. But yeah, I think it's Irubugenum. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'll put your teeth back in. Yeah. So
we'll just call him Tim then.
Yeah, I'll call him
Tim for now.
I don't have him there. Ryan, what are you saying then, line-wise? Do you feel a bit for Buendia, or do you think he just needs to sit it out and we go with the 2 up top? But then again, I think it might be game on game as well, mightn't it?
Yeah. I think because, Brighton they played with a back 3, and it made sense to play them 2 number 9s, because Brighton like to knock it around that back 3, don't they? That's how they build, and then they look to the whip. So having them 2 up top really cut that supply out, and it put pressure on them, and they couldn't build from the back. Now, Southampton like to build wide, don't they? They played 4-4-2, so they're going to try and exploit that wing play. So does he plump back to Coutinho and Buendia and try and shut that wide areas down a bit more? But I do think for this game, especially Ings against his old club as well, Watkins as well, he's got on the score sheet, and I think you've got to keep Ings going as well, just to build that momentum and that confidence. So I do think they're both start. Yes, I feel for Buendia. He's been top class the last couple of weeks. He's been really finding his groove after a bit of an indifferent start. So it's tough, but that's the competitive squad that we're building now, where he's got to put pressure on little Phil every training session now to try and take his place and be ready to come off the bench and be ready if he does want to make a tactical tweak. But yeah, Luiz as well. I thought he had one of his better games as a number 6 lately, but there was a couple of crossfield balls that just got cut out.
There was that one before he went off, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And he did the same
at this level now.
Watford.
Exactly, yeah. And you get punished. And if you're doing that 1, 2, 3 times a game, then sooner or later, we are going to fall behind or lose a game because of it. So whether Sanson comes in now, I don't know. If I see him as a 6, I feel like he's an 8, and I just can't see a future for him. I can't now. If you can't break into this team when this midfield is so threadbare, then I could probably see him going out on loan, probably to maybe back to France or somewhere next season, and then coming back. I think he's still got 3 years on his contract anyway. But I don't know. I don't know if Gerrard fancies him too much. So, but the back 4 stays the same for me, and obviously Emmy in goal.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a short, sweet, predicted lineup from us, just because we feel like it's going to be the same. But we've got a bit of transfer news as well. This one's been going around a bit. It was in January as well. Vine Aldrum, what we're saying, I quite like it, but again, it's all about where he'd fit in this system. But I think he's more of an assured midfielder than what we've probably got at the minute. What are your thoughts, Justin?
I think he would fit in great. Obviously, he knows him from Liverpool. Was he there when he was at Liverpool? He was there for a while, wasn't he?
Might have been when he was coaching there.
Yeah, I think he's very accomplished midfielder, isn't he? I think he would probably slot into the six. That's what whoever signs. I think that's the place for him. So I think it's a good signing. Yeah, he's got to look at the team he's playing for now. So he's got a lot of ability. He did really well for Liverpool. So yeah, for me, it would be an upgrade on some of our midfielders. So whoever he chose to sort of let go, I wouldn't be averse to it at all. Definitely, I think it'd be a good signing.
Did any of you see Perslow's comments about Basuma after the game? Basically saying he was in McGinn's back pocket.
That was it, yeah. I saw that, yeah. Well, it's an interesting one Saturday, though, isn't it? Because, like Ryan says about the way they play 4-4-2, it's depending what Gerrard's going to stick with. Will he actually change things to suit them? I think it'd be a good game for us. We've played 3 teams that have been really defensive, haven't we? But this week we played a team that's in really good form. They all know the job, so we might get a bit more room to play. So it might mean Luis gets a bit more freedom on the ball in a midfield 3 when he's already up against 2 centre midfielders. So yeah, it might be. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a really, really interesting game, and especially with Watkins and Ings up top, because Watkins could probably keep the 2 fullbacks quite quiet, but running the channels and keep them penned back, which would allow Coutinho a bit more space in the middle as well. So it's a game of 2 different formations, 2 different styles. So hopefully ours will come out on top.
One thing's about Danny Ings the other day, he worked really hard. He matched Watkins' work rate against Brighton, which was very impressive. Right? He didn't stop running all game. And I think if we do stick with the 2 up top, they are going to have to do some pressing on that wide area, aren't they, when Southampton are building on the back. But like I said, there's quite a bit of room afforded to John McGinn and Ramsey there, isn't there? Because the 2 do sit back, don't they, the 2 central midfielders. So yeah, it's interesting. It'll be an interesting game, and I think tactically it will change throughout the game. And it's a good matchup, isn't it? It's a good test for Gerrard.
And Ings will have a point to prove against Southampton, hopefully.
Oh, I'd love a goal. Love a Danny Ings goal.
Similar to the one he scored against us. He put that one top corner, wasn't it, last season?
Yeah.
Scream.
Nice, wouldn't it?
Have one of them at the Old Town, won't we?
Well, their fans are going to be baiting him all game because they were at the away game as well. So hopefully you can keep them quiet. So we'll leave it there then. Get involved in the comments section down below. And yeah, we'll be back for our fan cam. Justin might not be because he'll be having his cheese and crackers after the game or something. So we'll
you'll have a great time, Justin. Me and you were in there for the Newcastle game, weren't we? The first game of the season. It's brilliant, man. It's brilliant experience.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good.
Yeah, it'll be class. You'll have a great time, and hopefully we can get the win, and you'll enjoy it even more. So thank you, subscribe, and we'll speak to you soon.
Up there, brother.